designed our weekly video segment to take you into the back shelves of your local video store, back where it says horror videos, and where kids are devouring some awful films that we call the video nasties.
Are you freebasing? Inquiring minds want to know.
I have to break free from this culture of mechanical reproductions and the thick incrustations dying on the surface.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Monmouth the new Fletch.
The pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite. As for our deaths, come with me and be immortal.
We have such sights to show you.
Gotta return some videotapes.
Hello, horror hounds, and welcome to the It Slays podcast. I'm your humble host, Rowan.
And I'm Intense Eerie Music, Mike.
And it's Jill.
And we are back with another one, and we are Coltonless. Why? I don't really know. I think he's just sick of us, and he needs, like, that, bi-monthly break or something. He's just like, I'm done with these people. And always on a mic pick. Always on a mic pick.
That's strange.
Yeah, how bizarre.
Yes, it's very curious. Curiouser and curiouser, isn't it?
Poor Mike showed up, part of the team, took one for the team, showed up for Lake Placid, against his will.
Against my will.
Showed up for Jaws, against your will.
Mm-hmm.
Watched Jaws on my phone on the bus.
That's right. And this guy couldn't even show up for just a mic pick for the ages, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. And you know what? That's okay, though, because whenever he doesn't show up, we just get to talk a lot of shit about him, and he doesn't get the rebuttal. So, sounds like a loss for him, guys. But anyway, we're going to start the episode off. And we're going to talk about what are we consuming, what have we been watching, what have we been listening to, what have we been reading, all that kind of good stuff. Mike, we're going to start with you.
Oh, it's me. Hi. Yes, I've watched things. Actually, I've been very lax. It's been an extremely busy couple of weeks. But I did manage to squeeze in a couple of comfort watches.
Oh, nice.
Of stuff that I've seen a lot and that sparks joy in my burnt, rotten husk that we call a soul.
Carcass.
The carcass. It's just burnt out. It's a shell, but it's there. So I've been watching a lot of trash TV. Obviously, that sparks me joy. I won't go into that. But I did watch a couple of movies that I've seen literally, each of them I've seen, I'm not even kidding, at least 100 times in my life. The first one I watched was, I had a beautiful night where we made butter chicken from scratch, and it was delicious, and drank some wine and with my friend and her sister, and who's also my friend. I don't know why I said it like this. My two friends who are sisters. And we watched one of our favorite movies. We always used to get together once a year and watch this and Madonna's Drowned World tour on DVD after smoking a gigantic joint. And it is the wonderful godfather of all dance movie, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, starring Sarah Jessica Parker and R.I.P. Shannon Doherty and Helen Hunt and some other people. But yeah, and it literally it gives me life. It gives me a week's worth of energy, which unfortunately has died by the time we recorded this. And the other one I watched was actually horror related, and it is one of my favorite movies of all time, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I actually watched it last night. And Jill is hopping up and down in her chair right now.
I also just rewatched it the other day.
Shut
it's one of my comfort movies.
Me too.
I've actually never seen anything with Elvira.
What?
It's on my list of picks, Mistress of the Dark.
Go.
Oh, so, yeah, it's literally, it's one of those movies that, both of those movies that I watched, I could literally, if you strapped me in a chair and, blindfolded me and, put earplugs in, I would literally just, I would be able to, recite the whole movie, from front to back. Yeah.
Yeah, we will be covering it at some point soon.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, so good.
And honestly, that's really all I've, consumed. I started reading a book, but Ro was going to make fun of me for not having finished it yet, so... Ro, speaking of, if we're making fun of each other, what have you been consuming, watching, listening to, reading, playing, buying, and not watching?
I have actually been watching a little TV, which I normally don't do. Me and Exilia finished season 1 of The White Lotus.
Excellent.
And really enjoyed it. And we're maybe like 2 or 3 episodes in the season 2 now. I will say I'm not feeling season 2 as much as I liked season 1.
It's not as good.
Yeah, like I'm kind of worried that it might not get finished.
Oh, it's not that.
No, you should still finish it.
It's still really good.
Yeah, it's just
trust me, the payoff is worth it.
Yeah, nothing can live up to the perfection of that first season.
Yeah.
You know?
So, sadly, we'll see. Maybe not. I don't know. As for movies, what have I watched? I only did 2 rewatches. So the first one, I watched Civil War again.
Why?
Not Marvel Civil War, but the A24
Why?
Civil War.
Ew.
I watched it with Exilia. She hadn't seen it yet.
Okay.
I had bought it on 4K. I'm a fan of the movie. Exilia also likes the movie, but I enjoy it, and I wanted to watch it on 4K. She wanted to see it, so one night we sat out here, and we had headphones on. We did the Y jack into the PlayStation controller.
Nice. Yeah.
So that we could both have headphones on and the house is still quiet and, just watched.
That's actually cute.
That's cool.
That's very taking one earbud out and when you're on the bus and like each of you putting it in your ear.
Yeah.
Romantique.
Yeah. So that was a rewatch. And then another rewatch I did was, I think, all over like North America, probably all over a bunch of places. For the 15th anniversary, all the theaters did a one-night showing of Coraline, and they played it. It's just got redone in like new 3D. So I think this is like the first time it's been played in this new 3D in theaters. So I took my daughter to go see that. She loves Coraline, and me and her had a daddy-daughter night.
That's so sweet. Now you have to get her to read the graphic novel. We're going to get her reading.
Yeah, that's right. So from there, what else have I seen? We did a Now Slain, me and Jill and Colton on Alien Romulus. So you can hear my thoughts on it there. I finally got to watch my Blu-ray copy that I bought and hadn't opened of I Saw the TV Glow, which sadly we didn't get a chance to do on Now Slain because Canada sucks and they just barely played it in any theaters, and if they did, they played it for like 2 days. So I won't say much about that because I figure at some point that will be a pick.
Yeah.
For sure.
From there, I watched a couple movies that I just hadn't seen, whether they were old or they were kind of like late night watches. Like, after we wrapped up the day, everyone's asleep. I'm like, I'm just probably going to fall asleep, so I'll just watch something on my watch list, which is like usually, it doesn't matter the streaming service. It's just every streaming service, my watch list. I just go through every movie I haven't seen and added it. Because I guess my goal is someday I'm like, I'll see every movie ever made. I'm sure that'll happen. So I watched Delivery Man, which is with Vince Vaughn. I can't even think about like if there's anyone else other than Vince Vaughn. The woman that plays the lawyer in like Law and Order, she's in it also. I can't think of her name.
Okay. Stephanie March?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Blonde?
I don't know. I guess I have access to Letterboxd, so I probably could look this up, and it's not really showing to me quickly. So, anyway, it's Vince Vaughn and Chris Pratt. They're the main stars of it. It wasn't great. It was weird. It's like a comedy, but I think it's supposed to kind of be a black comedy or something because it's not funny, really. It's based off of a real event about a guy who donated a lot of sperm, and the sperm bank basically, because his sperm worked so well, gave it to like everybody and everybody got pregnant that used it, and he ended up like being sued by his kids because of like privacy, like because of course a sperm bank has a privacy contract, so you don't know who donated the sperm, and basically this sperm had produced like 150 children or something, and they were suing to find out who their father was. Yeah, it just wasn't very good. It's written and directed by a guy from like Montreal or something. I didn't know anything about it. It was just like a movie I hadn't seen with Vince Vaughn. And I was like, sure, why not? So that wasn't very good. And I said, why not keep the train rolling? And I watched Dodgeball for the very first time.
Fuck yes.
Oh.
So I thought I had seen this before, but as I was watching it, I quickly realized I have never seen this. I've seen like bits and parts of it. And it was fine. I like, there was stuff I giggled at. I think I feel like people have nostalgia for this movie, maybe, that saw it at a young age, or like teenagers or something. And to me, I was just like, this is like mediocre funny. Like, it's just not great.
Yeah, it's not great, but
I always thought it was mediocre.
But it's funny. Like, they don't make movies that are just like fucking stupid like that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's true. So
it was a particular brand of let's get this on the weekend and put it in and just fuck around, and yeah.
Yeah, but that's because everything is like got to be part of a 80 movie series now.
Yeah, that's true. And honestly, my last two things that I watched, it's just been mediocre all around. I watched Jackpot, which is the new Amazon Prime original with John Cena and Awkwafina, which is like an action comedy.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Oh, no.
And I mean, I've many times on this podcast voiced my opinions on Awkwafina. Not my cup of tea.
Me neither.
I do enjoy John Cena, though. And John Cena, like, his back hurts from carrying this movie because he's the only thing that's funny in it. It also stars, like, Simu Liu. Is that his name? Simu Liu, or the guy plays Shang-Chi in the Marvel Universe.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
he plays, like, the bad guy in this. He's not very good.
And Kim's Convenience?
Yes, Kim's Convenience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that show.
He's not very good in this. I think we're just quickly learning that, like, he's not very good in a lot of things.
Except Kim's Convenience.
But this was like a kind of whatever. It's like an action comedy that's like almost like a weird version of The Purge. It's about basically you win the jackpot, and the only way you get the jackpot is that you have to survive 24 hours, and everyone it's based in California. Everyone in California is allowed to try to kill you. And if they kill you, they win the lottery. It's not very good. I thought it was just kind of dumb, but it was like mindless late night watching. It's great for that. I didn't really have to pay attention. I was playing a game on my phone while I was watching it. And lastly, I watched Fly Me to the Moon, which is the Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum rom-com that came out a couple months ago in theaters, based on the Apollo 11 moon landing with like Buzz Aldrin and all those guys. And it's like this weird rom-com that is about feeding into the fake moon landing conspiracy of like, oh, maybe it happened, maybe it didn't, what do we know? It also stars like Ray Romano and Woody Harrelson.
Wait, did they mention Stanley Kubrick in it?
They did.
Okay, good.
I can't think of the actor's name. I only know him as the guy that plays the principal in Community.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
But he plays, like, the director of the fake moon landing, and they basically, like, talk to him, and they're like, oh, like, why couldn't we got, like, Stanley Kubrick instead of you? And then he has, like, a line, like, he's like, Stanley Kubrick is a hack. You know, like, this was just, like, an inoffensive, oddly casted. Like, I didn't think Scarlett Johansson was really necessarily great. Channing Tatum plays like an engineer. He's like a NASA nerdy engineer, but was also like in the military forever. It was just like a weird whatever story. Pretty bad rom-com. Like, it wasn't that funny. So
Oh no.
Yeah, it just hasn't been great watching over here. And then the only thing I'll say, I have done a little bit of reading. I've kicked back in to my X-Men reading. I got the urge the other day. I decided to get the iPad out and, got my Marvel Unlimited going again.
I'm about to do the same thing. That's so funny.
I haven't had it in like 4 years. And I'll just say Marvel Unlimited, a little more expensive than it used to be when I signed up for it. I think I paid like $60 for the year. And by the time I was done paying for it, I didn't realize how much it was. I didn't realize the price I was looking at was the American price. I think I paid like $103
oh my God.
for it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'll use it. But yeah, so reading Uncanny X-Men, I'm on like, I don't know, issue 190 or something.
Oh my God, so you're in the like Rachel Summers era?
Yeah, I think I'm getting around there.
Like, yeah, okay. I love it. The early 200s, I just have to say, is like 200 to like, I'd say even 245 is like my favorite X-Men run.
And then, I got it so I can catch up on that and also catch up with, like, Marvel's got all the Aliens comics and stuff now that they've been putting out, which I own, but are like packed away in boxes and I don't feel like digging them out. So I was like, I'll just read them on the app. And yeah, that's really all I've been up to. What about you, Jill?
So yeah, you mentioned Alien Romulus, so go check that episode out that we did. I also just watched Eraserhead for the first time. We did it for Straight Jacket Talk, so that'll probably be out as well. You can check that out and listen to my thoughts on it. Apart from that, really random stuff. I watched The Invitation from 2022. I remember when you and Colton did the Now Slaying on that, and ever since then I wanted to watch it because I thought I would like it.
Don't do it.
I thought it would be like the other Invitation. Or, I don't know, like Crimson Peak or something. And that's very not what I got from it. It was like Hallmark Lifetime movie tries to do that kind of thing and fails miserably. So, wasn't great at all. Not good. And then the other thing that I watched that I had been wanting to watch for a while is Abigail. I think I just had like higher expectations for it. Once like the gimmick of her being like a vampire, which you already know before going into it if you've seen the trailer. I don't know. I thought it was cool. I liked the little girl who played Abigail. But yeah, like I said, it kind of reminded me of Humane. Remember when we did that Humane episode? Yeah. And it became like this kind of really dumb, like stuck in a house and there's a murder kind of mystery. Like Agatha Christie, but like not done well, unfortunately. So yeah, I thought it was okay. Like, I think the concept is fun, but it's got, what's her name? Melissa Barrera, yeah. And I love her in anything, so. Oh, and also Catherine Newton from Lisa Frankenstein. So
she's good.
I love her too. Apart from
I like to think of her as Catherine Newton from Freaky.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's so good.
Okay, I need to put that on my list. Freaky.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I watched Babe, like rewatched Babe.
Like the pig movie?
The pig movie.
I was like, am I confused here?
No, I was looking for something like kind of calming to put on when I went to bed one night. And I was like, I used to love this movie when I was a kid. Let's rewatch it. And I rewatched it and it made me really like sad. Like, it's such a dark movie, actually, about like animals.
I'm so glad you didn't say
shit.
Horny.
No. I was just like, how did I watch this all the time? Like this and Bambi. They're just really sad and dark. And yeah, it's good. Babe's a really good movie, but rewatch it as an adult. It's a different experience.
You're like, don't take an edible before you watch Babe at bedtime.
That's actually what happened.
I know! I fucking knew it.
And I was having a bad experience, and I was like, I'm just gonna like curl up and go to bed because I can't take this movie anymore.
I'm not gonna lie, that's the sort of thing that like 12 years ago I would have regularly done, would be like get really high, like accidentally like too high, and then watch something like Babe and then have a fucking full-on meltdown until like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Stop it.
Yeah. I've done that before. I think it happened once when I was watching Annie. I was like, oh, it would be really cool to watch Annie right now at 2 a.m. when I'm like so high that I can't tell if I'm still alive or not.
Dude, Rowan is shaking his head so hard at us right
It's
now.
horrifying, by the way. It's a horrifying movie.
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
Oh my god, it's so
Annie
good.
or Babe?
I definitely haven't seen Bambi, but I don't know if I've ever seen Babe.
Oh no. It's like,
wait, did you say Bambi? I was talking about Annie.
Yeah.
Are you high? Did you just have an edible?
He's also checked out so far now that he has no idea what we're talking about.
I've also never seen Annie either, so
okay,
I guess it doesn't really matter.
Well, anyways, yeah, it's like 1984, but for children. And
yeah.
Geez. Anyways, and I also read Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield, and that was upon Mike's recommendation like a couple weeks ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really liked it. I liked that it would like switch point of view from like one girl to the other and like their experiences. I like that narrative style a lot, and it really skeeved me out like when you see the point of view of the wife that's like trapped under the ocean.
Yeah.
And like things are just going wrong. It's like such a kind of like a Lovecraftian type of horror vibe to it. Like there's this like giant monster on the outside and they're going crazy on the inside. And then she comes back wrong, which is a trope I really love.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was really interesting. So thanks for that recommendation because I loved it.
No prob. I thought it was a beautiful book.
It is really beautiful. And like also like all the talks of like her being like a marine explorer or like biologist, like all the allusions and references she makes to the sea, I really liked. Yeah, so awesome book. But yeah, that's all I've been up to.
Well, I mean, with that, Mike, why don't you let people know what we're doing tonight and why you chose this film?
Okay, tonight we are gathering to pay tribute. I'm kidding. To talk about Tobe Hooper's seldom seen, seldom talked about 1990 TV movie, I'm Dangerous Tonight. I picked it because we were supposed to have a special guest on tonight who could not make it due to technical catastrophes, and we both really wanted to watch it and talk about it. So here we are. I've kind of inflicted this distress on everybody now, including anybody who's listening to the episode. But yeah, I saw it like years and years and years ago when I bought the VHS on a whim from a video store that was going out of business. I'm like, oh my god, Tobe Hooper, Machen Amick. So yeah, I was like, fuck it, let's do it. Let's do it. So here we are.
Beautiful.
Well, with that, let's get in the trailer and we'll get into the synopsis and first experiences.
From the director of Poltergeist.
A red cloak worn by Aztec priests on the day of sacrifice. Certain garments have the power to take control of certain individuals, to possess them. You have sensed the power of the cloak.
Anthony Perkins, Twin Peaks Machen Amick. I'm Dangerous Tonight, a USA World Premiere movie. Tonight at 7, 6 Central.
1990's I'm Dangerous Tonight is directed by Tobe Hooper and written by Philip John Taylor and Bruce Lansbury, based off a novella from Cornell Woolrich. And the synopsis is as follows. An ancient Aztec cloth with a curse accidentally finds its way into the possession of a young woman. She decides to make a dress from the cloth. Whoever wears this cloth comes under its spell. All inhibitions and moral responsibilities are lost. So, we know where we're going to start. Our first experiences. Is this our first time seeing it? Or have we, seen this every year when we're doing our Tobe Hooper watches, Hoop Fest, or whatever? Mike, you
Hoop Fest.
Hoop Fest. Mike, you kind of already said that, you'd bought the VHS. You had any more you wanted to add to that, or?
Okay, well, I want to say that I watched the VHS when I bought it, a million years ago. And it just sort of sat in my collection. And then, I moved a couple times and had to get rid of it all. And I literally I would think about it all the time, but like, especially when I was thinking about like Mädchen Amick or like Anthony Perkins or Tobe Hooper stuff, but I just never rewatched it because it was like really hard to find during the peak piracy years, we'll call them. The Napster years. And then last year, I think it was about a year and a half ago now, actually. It was Kino Lorber put out a Blu-ray of it. So it was remastered, and they put together like a really nice package, actually, of extras. Like there's a couple of commentaries and some interviews, like new interviews with cast or the surviving cast and like crew members and stuff like that. So yeah, I picked it up and I've been meaning to rewatch it, and I thought, you know what? I just sat on my shelf because I'm like Ro. I buy stuff and don't watch it for like 6 months to a year. And then I said, you know what, we're doing it, and this is going to be an excuse for me to rewatch it. So this was my first time watching it since I was like a youngster. So really, like, I've seen it before, but I kind of like, it was that long ago that it was essentially like I was watching it and going, oh yeah, I completely forgot about every element of the plot. Ro, what say you?
Yeah, I have never seen this. I had never heard of it. As someone, I love Texas Chainsaw. I love Texas Chainsaw 2, but Tobe Hooper is not someone that, other than that, I'm really like overly familiar with. Now, I know, there's always the argument about like how important is his role in Poltergeist. I've also never seen Poltergeist, so...
Oh my god. How dare you?
So really, like I said, I'm just not really on that level of Hoop Fest. Obviously, I'm not, promoting Hoop Fest like it should be promoted. And yeah, no idea about this. I went into this blind. I knew it was a Mike pick. The rest I'm gonna say, I'll say it in the review. Jill, what about you?
Yeah, I also had never heard of this. Shocker. Never seen it. But I will agree with you. It is a classic Mike pick. And
Shade.
That is not shady. What I'm saying is every once in a while you need a little palate cleanser. You need a little classic Mike pick. You need a little I'm Dangerous Tonight. 1990.
Well, with that, let's open up the tomb or whatever that thing was and get into the review. Are we going to have the discussion first off of if you're listening to this and you're like, how do I see this movie? And we're like, I don't know. Because this might have been the hardest movie ever done on the podcast for me to like try to watch.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, you lucked out, Mike, because I was like, I need to pick up this release, Kino Lorber, so I'm already on board. And everything I had read, they're like, oh, it's beautiful, like
it does look amazing,
amazing, and couldn't find it unless I wanted to pay like $60 for it, and wait forever to get it. Contacted my record store in Halifax. They were like, it's not even in our system. Like, we can't order it. We can't do anything. I'm searching all the shady links possible. Can't, either I'm finding ones that are only like 50 minutes long or all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I felt a little shaded by you also, because when I was trying to talk about finding the second half of the video I was watching from Dailymotion, you're like, did you click on an ad? Like I wasn't doing it right or something. I was like, excuse me.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to help you out. Maybe it was an ad or I don't know. I sent you that Dailymotion link. I was off that Dailymotion link pretty quick. Well, and I was confused because this is listed at an hour and 40 minutes, but the one I watched was only 132.
No, that's what it is. It's 92 minutes.
Yeah, so I don't know why. Like when you Google it, it says it's like an hour and 40. So I was like, oh, I wonder if there's like some sort of extra or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But we did manage to find it. That was good.
Okay, listen, I'm sorry.
It's true.
I'm
Mike
sorry that you have to go on
fashion.
sketchy websites to watch this movie. Listen, I can't help it. It's an obscure pick.
It's part
it's
of
a
the
passion,
experience.
a passion
Yeah.
pick. So just know that it's gonna give you a virus. I'm kidding. Yeah, and a pair. I didn't know. It was only like a year and a half ago that this Blu-ray came out. I actually kind of thought I was doing Ro a favor because he loves just buying, like being forced by the picks to buy a Blu-ray or like a DVD or something. And I thought I was doing him a favor to like, oh look, you're gonna have to order it now. And he's like, the guy said it's out of print, and I was like, that can't be right. And I was like, oh yeah, look, you can't order it anymore.
I still don't think it's right. I think they just for some reason couldn't get a hold of a copy or something, but I'll track one down. I mean, to me, a good place to really start is kind of the intro. That's where my first notes start of, we get this intro, we get the abrupt start. First of all, with just like the title of the movie, I always had to remind myself throughout watching this, like, oh yeah, this is a TV movie. That's why there's like some glaring editing choices made in this, and kind of jump around. But I really, really like the whole intro scene to this movie. I said it was giving me big Creep Show vibes.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, it reminded me something that would have been in the original Creep Show film with, like, the crate, what's in the crate. We got kind of the guard, he's watching, I think he's watching just, like, NBA basketball or something, and we got this professor, like everything about it. I'm like, this is like Stephen King, George A. Romero Creep Show vibes.
Oh, for sure. And it's like, it actually kind of gave me vibes of like Tales from the Dark Side, because there is that one with the mummy in that. Yeah, it's very much like Creep Show, Tales from the Dark Side, like Tales from the Crypt, 100%. That classic like monster movie sort of vibe.
And I love the look of the crate, and like in the story it's Aztec, but I mean, I don't even know if that's what Aztec stuff looks like, but I love just our ignorance of the 90s. We're like, I don't know, there's some scary snakes carved into this, and
we're gonna play the shit out of this Aztec music
the
whole time.
Of course. And like the sand coming out of the mouths of the corner.
Yeah, that was cute. It was cute.
And then even when like they look in the crate, which gave me I love. I mean, a good looking in a crate scene, just chef's kiss.
That's niche.
Chef's kiss.
I love how you keep calling it a crate when it's literally a sacrificial altar.
Okay, yeah.
Remember they talked about how many like 10,000 people were sacrificed on it or whatever. Yeah, and it's a secret that's inside. It's not supposed to be a crate. It's like that's how he knows that there's an opening. That's why he's trying to figure out how to like. Anyway, I just think it's funny. It's very classic Ro to be like that crate.
That
and it's
crate,
like literally
made of stone.
fucking sacrificial altar.
But yeah, I loved it. Opened it. There's a dead woman in it, skeleton, kind of giving me Bordello Blood vibes here.
Oh, yes. I wish it came to life and was Angie Everhart.
I thought that's where it was going. I'm like, oh shit, this is going to be like some vampire or something. It's going to, come alive. But yeah, and we get our cloth, automatically there. And just like this whole scene is great, like, straight to the point, kind of the good thing about TV movies. And especially not, I was thinking about like, when we did like Eyes of Laura Mars, like you could tell that was made for TV, but it was an older movie where we're in the 90s. So we're starting to get a little more like, all right, we got to get to the point with these movies. So, it's pretty quick. Like he touches it, we automatically know he goes insane, and he's just slicing and dicing people up. Great blood splatter shot in this. But it also just looked good. It was shot good. And I thought throughout the whole movie, that's what was kind of interesting about this is I think my overall gripe with it is some of the editing choices, but mostly the script. The script seemed pretty weak.
Yeah.
And it was interesting how competent you could tell Tobe Hooper's direction was, and just how good of a director
even though they clearly had no budget at all.
Yeah.
But like he's like, yeah, I can work with no budget.
And it was just like, I think he tried to elevate the material as much as he could. You know, whether that's successful or not, I'm not 100%, you know, I won't play my hand totally at the beginning, but, you know, I just thought it was interesting because I was like, okay, you can see that, but also interesting because it doesn't have a Tobe Hooper vibe at all. Like, if you told me someone else directed this, I'd believe it. No real hallmarks.
Listen, like, well, I mean, I guess because it doesn't have that, like, kind of like that stamp of his personality. If you told me, now see, and here's the thing. So obviously I would have loved to have the time this weekend to like rewatch it with the commentary on and stuff like that. So I don't know. I can't say anything about the details of this movie as it was made. But what I theorize is that it was probably like, because, you know, this was definitely, I feel like a little bit of like a slump period for him, let's say.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word. And I don't know. I feel like maybe he was like hired. It feels like something that he would have been hired to do, and he's just sort of like banging it out. You know, kind of like Wes Craven did a bunch of TV movies in like the early 80s and late 70s and stuff. I kind of feel like it was giving me that vibe of like, you know, this is something I'm banging out as a job. I'm going to do a good job on it and, you know,
do what I can. I'm getting paid. That kind of stuff. Yeah,
they're not giving me any money. I'm going to make it. I'm going to do a good job and then, you know, move on to the next one.
Yeah, and I was going to say, like, you know, other than, you know, like I said, I've never seen Poltergeist, but, you know, I've seen enough clips of Poltergeist. I get the gist. I get the iconic scenes, but I mean, Tobe Hooper, not really known for being the, like, G-rated horror filmmaking guy. Like, he gave you Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, he gave you the second one. Like, a lot of black comedy is kind of his thing. Like,
Eaten Alive, yeah.
Yeah, like, he likes to be visceral and kind of make you uneasy and queasy. And I just thought it was funny because throughout this film, lots of, like, blood splatter as much as he could get away with, and you could tell like he wanted to push these scenes as kind of racy as he was probably allowed to go.
Well, I mean, and it was like network TV it was on. It wasn't even like an HBO or like Cinemax or something. Like there's, because even then you can't, there's only like, would have only been, especially in 1990, only so much you could show, but like on like network TV, like literally like nothing. I'm actually shocked that he got away with getting that much in it, to be quite honest.
Yeah, so, you know, I just thought it was interesting to see, because you could just tell he's like, all I want to do is just like show you some gore, and just like you could tell they're like, nope, that's not gonna happen, so better luck next time.
No, it's true though. Yeah. I just, that's when I was, you know, rewatching it. Technically, I had watched it before. But like the whole time, I was like, every scene where it was like kind of, you could tell that it was going to get like intense in one way or another, or when there was violence or a killing, I could see that it like, he just wanted it so bad. Like I could see what he would have done, and I could see how, like, because the Blu-ray looked really good.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of it, like it was shot quite well for a TV movie, even though it's like very dated and very 1990. It actually gave me vibes of like Mirror Mirror, but not as good. But anyway, you know, but it had that
same thing I thought.
Yeah. So it was giving
Mirror.
very, very Mirror Mirror, that sort of, you know, it's 1990 was like a really specific time for like horror movies and TV movies in general. And I could see kind of like under the surface what he would have done had he A, been given more of a budget, and B, not been constrained by like it being on network TV at like whatever 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night. So yeah, it was unfortunate because like the whole time I was watching it, I could see the better movie that he could have made with the material.
But he got a showcase movie, basically.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I like, there was stuff I felt in it, I'm sure it's just like kind of script venting and stuff like that, like stuff with the, you know, we say the cloth, but it pretty much turns into a dress. That's what we're dealing with in this, is basically like this possessed dress, essentially.
Yeah.
And like, I just felt there was like so many times that it didn't follow its own logic. There'd be times like Amy's touching it and nothing, she's fine, nothing happens. But then there'd be other times they're like showing you, oh, she's touching it. So now, you know, this seductress personality is coming out.
Yeah, it's like a fake out.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, but when she had it this time, nothing happened, or she grabbed it away from somebody, nothing happened. So I was kind of confused at that logic of, is it like you kind of need to want that to come out in the time in order for it to come out, or is it you actually touch it? Because I think about like our, when we have, who's it, Gloria, the cousin, when she's like, before she kills her boyfriend, like she literally just like steps on it and it's like automatically turned into like this seductress.
Well, they do sort of address that because when she has that conversation with Anthony Perkins about, like, oh, but like a good person. And she's like, tee-hee, it doesn't seem to always affect me because I'm a good girl. I'm a good girl. I just get in the car with my cousin's boyfriend.
Yeah.
And almost jump his bones.
Almost.
You name drop pretty much like big, what I think really this has going for it. Like, obviously, because it is Tobe Hooper, he definitely, called in some favors. So, the cast is pretty wild in this.
Yeah, it's like weird.
Like you said, Anthony Perkins in this, in like just a cameo role. And for the most part in this movie, probably one of the few times that he's casted in something after Psycho that isn't like some sort of
like a
Psycho
Psycho.
ripoff.
Yeah.
Obviously, that kind of changes up at the end of the film, but
yeah,
for the most part, but that's just a normal professor.
But that's what kind of gives it the power, right? Like you're kind of like, oh my god, wow, they really like went out of their way to not typecast. I fell for it,
And then we got, Arlie Ermy in it. Obviously icon.
Also not playing a like screaming psychopathic character.
Yeah, which is very odd. I was like, A, he has this weird haircut going on.
Yeah.
And B, he's just kind of like this understated detective that may or may not be competent. I don't think he really gets enough time to kind of cook that character fully.
Yeah.
And then Dee Walace also in it.
And then Dee Walace, the queen, the icon, the legend, in one of my favorite wigs I've seen in months.
Added to the list.
Yeah. Oh, it's on, baby.
Okay.
Got a bad wig. Yeah, don't you worry.
I love it.
I literally, the second that came up, I was like, oh my god, yes, I forgot about this. On the list. Boom, done.
But yeah, just crazy cast in general.
Also, Machen Amick, hello, from Twin Peaks.
Well,
and then later in her career, had a resurgence as being on Riverdale.
Well, and there's quite a lot of horror pedigree in this, because like even Eddie, played by Corey Parker.
Yes, yeah, I love Corey Parker.
Who plays Jason Voorhees as a 12-year-old in Friday the 13th 5. So, also like some horror iconography just going on there.
And he was also in another TV movie from the same time, maybe even the same year, that I saw on, like, for all the Atlantic Canadians, ASN at like 12 o'clock at night when I was like 13, and it was called How I Got Into College, and it's just about him trying to like scam his way into college in like 1991. Amazing. Also, hilariously starring Lara Flynn Boyle, who was also in Twin Peaks. He was in 2 TV movies with Twin Peaks girls.
That's hilarious.
Good old Corey Parker. God love him. I wonder what he's up to now.
But yeah, was the whole haunted, possessed dress, like, did it work for you, Jill, at all? Like, we obviously, we did In Fabric not too long ago. So this is another, there's no way that the, like, In Fabric guy didn't watch this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
For sure.
100% inspired. It has to be. But yeah, that's the only thing I could think of the whole time I was watching it. I was just like, this makes me want to watch In Fabric again.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. I'm like, oof, that was such a good movie.
In Fabric was better.
Yes, of course.
Kind of how we're talking about like how it reminds us of Mirror Mirror, and Mirror Mirror was better. Same thing here. So that actually did like a big disservice to my watch, because I was just like,
you were comparing it to something that you loved a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like,
that is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But like, and I mean, a lot of people would say, oh, he's probably not inspired by that, because this is obscure by any standard, even though it's Tobe Hooper. And I'm like, maybe that's true. But also, it was based on a story.
Yeah.
And Cornell Woolrich literally wrote the story that, like, Rear Window was based on, and Mississippi Mermaid, and The Bride Wore Black. Like, he has literally, like, 70 movies and shit based on his stuff. And also, hilariously, something else that is obscure that I used to watch when I was a kid is this show called The Hunger. And it was on, I think, HBO or Cinemax no, it wasn't HBO. I think it was like Cinemax in the States, and it came on the Movie Network in Canada. And it was an anthology show, kind of like Tales from the Crypt. But instead of just regular horror, every episode was an erotic horror. And there was 2 seasons. The first season was hosted by Terrence Stamp as like the Crypt Keeper person. And the second season, get this was like 98, 99. David Bowie was the host of every episode. Bowie. Anyway, you know who?
I wrote it down. I'm gonna watch it.
One of the first episodes. So Karen Black is in it. It's called Menage a Trois. I've never forgotten it.
Oh my god.
It's really, really good. You need to watch it. Karen Black, Lena Headey from Game of Thrones.
So we're doing
Daniel
this
Craig.
for Stream Screams.
And Daniel Craig.
Saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Daniel Craig. A baby Daniel Craig. And amazing. Anyway, so in season 2, they actually do another adaptation of I'm Dangerous Tonight. So it's a short story, a Tobe Hooper movie, even if it's obscure, and an episode of a TV show. So there's no way that this was not out there as like I at least know about it. You know what I mean? The influence is there, I'm telling you.
Yeah, and just going back to what you said, like this is one of those, it really does feel like an anthology type of story. And I feel like it would really shine, especially in an episode of Creepshow or Tales from the Crypt or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, if you pared it down and to like just 4 or 5 beats instead of like stretching it out for 90 minutes, you could easily just like trim this down and make a half hour or 45-minute episode out of it.
Yeah, because I think like once we get to like Gloria killing her boyfriend, and then she's chasing Amy and Eddie. Like, it kind of picks up then, because then we're getting into the Dee Walace stuff, and she's kind of gone on this, like, murder spree and all that. And then, of course, like, it starts off very strong, but there's, like, that lull between the intro and basically Gloria putting on the dress.
Yeah.
That I'm like, okay, and I get, like, they got to feed you, like, the grandmother or whatever. And, she, like... did she push her grandmother down the stairs and all this kind of stuff? And
which, by the way, they don't even seem to investigate. They aren't like, what happened? Like, why is she smashed over the like railing?
Yeah, and then they talk
like,
about her
they don't even care about potential elder abuse. It's wild.
Yeah, Lieutenant Ackman basically like has the theory, but just never really follows through with it.
Yeah, it's like...
But I think all this stuff, like I said, I think all of it just really comes down to how badly the editing, like, I think failed the movie. Because so much of this movie, things happen, nothing's ever said about it again.
Yeah.
It totally restarts, obviously, like after a planned commercial break, into something totally different. Like, I think the most egregious thing for me was Gloria having the car accident, being burned alive, cuts directly into Amy just running, jogging, running into the professor, all that kind of stuff. But like, and then the only way they connected is the professor's like, oh, hey, I heard about your cousin. Like, sorry about that. And she's like, oh,
and you're like, wait, is this like the next day? Is it 2 months later? Like, what's going on?
It is very confusing, especially because I was watching it in like different parts.
Yeah.
So that those
you
jumps,
literally were like,
I was like,
in Russian Daily Motion 15-minute chunks.
I really was on a Russian site at the end. That was like the best quality one I found. But yeah, it made it very like disorienting.
Yeah, so and I think that just like I said, I don't think the script was that strong. And unfortunately, I was just like, these are too many things that are just like working against it for it to flow like this smooth, film.
And I'm gonna say, like, just speaking of the script, so when I watched it, like, I was the type of person that, like, even when I was like 13 years old, I was like this. If I watched a movie or a TV show and it was like based on a book by or based on the story by, I always tried to find it and read it. Even if I didn't particularly like it. And like this, I remember watching it and going, this is not my favorite thing. But when I saw it was based on a story, I was like, I have to find it. It literally took me years until I was in university. And like, I found, oh my God, there's this collection of Cornell Woolrich stories. And it has that in it. I literally photocopied it's actually more of a novella. It was like 100 pages. I literally photocopied a 100-page short story and read it. And it was so long ago that I don't really remember anything about it, but I do remember the story being like it pretty much takes the basic concept and the name, because like there was like a garment and there was people that was like kind of causing people to like become murderous and like bring out their evil and stuff, and it was like I remember it being very, very dark, and but it was literally, I remember being very disappointed by it because it was nothing like the movie, and I was just like reading it and going, when is Amy going to show? You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. So
I feel like they departed a lot from the source material. I would like, and I tried, and by the way, I did try to find it to reread. Nowhere online. I couldn't find my photocopy somehow over the decades. It got lost. But yeah, so I feel like the script definitely did stray a lot from the source material, and that might be part of the problem. Like, I feel like the idea was there, and they just kind of like maybe executed it in a shitty manner.
Because it is a very good concept.
Yeah.
Love a good like she-devil kind of devil woman movie. Of course. Especially with clothing and like evil clothing, cursed clothing.
And that dress was cunty.
It was so cunty. And that's why such in fabric cunty works. Yeah. And then this is just like, man, I really wish someone had taken the reins on this, tightened it up, made it into a fun little story that it should be. And it would really shine. Like, I really wanted to like this based on the idea and the concept, but the execution was just like really shoddy.
Yeah, and it was, unfortunately, it's the execution was typical TV movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of that time, right? That's
because I mean, essentially, we get like in some of the opening scenes, we get like Amy and Eddie meeting for the first time, and then just automatically they're like dating now, and we're just like, there's no explanation that they're a couple, except they're just like, now they're kissing, and now they're like hanging out and stuff. Also, Amy's gonna grow a backbone. Like, Eddie literally just throwing her like, oh yeah, Amy will, do this job for our play that looks terrible.
Right after he like fucking conned her into doing the fucking research paper and reading what looked to be 1,000-page, like, what was it, like anthropology text or philosophy or something, like, and do an essay on it or whatever the fuck they were doing.
No thanks.
And which is literally, that would take a month. And then he's like, oh, by the way, in addition to the fucking group project that you're doing by yourself, you're also going to be you're doing the project by yourself so I can do my play, but now I'm also dragging you into my play. Like, what the fuck?
Bitch.
Yeah.
Girl, like,
go buy some props.
She's got to drive her own
it's
car.
Not even like show up. Yeah, it's not even like she just gets to show up and like be a stage manager or like a stagehand and like move props around. It's like literally, oh, you need to go find estate sales and drive around all day and like bargain with people. Like, literally, when is she going to do this project?
It also seems like she just
typical man,
money, so.
Not getting paid.
And what's her cut of the like box office of this going to be?
Nothing.
0, 0, 0, 0, not 1.
Well, yeah, because it seems like this is kind of like for a class or something, like that he's just kind of doing it. I don't even think they're making money. So, they're like, how about you spend your money because you're a sucker?
I mean, the director thinks he's like Bob Fosse or something.
I love the aunt. I can't remember the aunt's name.
Oh, I know.
Massive
is it Martha?
I know I've seen her from Martha. It's definitely Martha.
Yeah, Martha. I love giving me big, like the mom from the original Nightmare on Elm Street vibes, where just like every scene she's like pouring a drink or having a drink. There's not like, she doesn't even do the like, I'm going to leave the bottle of vodka in the kitchen and go refill it all the time. She literally is just fully sitting on the couch with the bottle just on the coffee table. She's like, I know I'm just going to drink this whole bottle. So God love her though for having a glass.
that she then passes out and smashes.
I appreciate the attempt with the story of like the grandmother and Martha, because like you could obviously see that they were trying to tie in like this Cinderella-esque story to it.
Exactly. And I mean, it's right down to, and I did appreciate that. Again, you could see that the idea was there, and down to her, like, you know, putting on a dress that like changes her life.
Yeah.
Right?
Although I don't know, are you guys fighting over Gloria's boyfriend there? That haircut.
Oh my God, what was it? Mason? Oh, Mason.
Yeah, Mason.
Mason fully, honestly, I hated Mason, and then after a while I was like, I kind of respect how open he is with like, no man, like we're like, you're literally just here for this stepping stone, and then I'm gonna just toss you. I was like, I mean, at least he's admitting it.
He's an honest man, so...
And he's an honest piece of shit. He's a piece of shit, but he's an honest piece of shit.
That was probably my favorite, like, kill. Like, my favorite scene in the movie was... Gloria killing him. I thought that was, like, kind of the most brutal, and it was, like, really where I felt, okay, like, this dress really brings out, like... very sinister and, you know, the, like... thoughts, and I thought like she's in the full seductress mode, and then obviously until they mention it later on I didn't really know what, like, when she takes the razor out and
razor, but you know she's gonna do something nasty because he's already dead.
We'll see. Originally I was like, oh, maybe she's gonna try to make it look like he like killed himself or something, but then when they bring it up and they're like, oh, she you know, mutilated his genitals,
castrated him,
I was like, oh, that, like, here we go. Tobe Hooper knew
it was nasty,
up.
Right? Yeah, and it's like the story is supposed to be nasty, and there's the little glimmers of it, but like, again, just now you wouldn't show that anyway, but like it just they didn't even allude to it well enough until later on for it to really have any kind of impact. And then by the time you do learn about it, you're like, oh, I'm kind of over that because there's this other shit going on now.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I thought that scene was like pretty strong.
It was, yeah.
I will say, also love it. I love it when any movie says the name of the movie in it. And so I was pumped for that.
That was a great scene.
What a random thing to just say to yourself in a mirror.
That's the cuntiest thing about this movie, besides the dress.
And
the women when they wear the dress.
Listen.
Yeah. They always look like fucking $1 million.
Gloria is the icon of this movie to me. It's not Amy. Gloria is... I was like, this is Mike's favorite character. I already know it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love her.
She's a bad bitch in that dress.
I love her.
Dee Walace was great in this. I mean, I can't really think of any other movie I've seen Dee Walace strung out on, like, heroin.
No, honestly, though, she carried this. Like, that was sick. Like... How many times do you see Dee Walace play like a nasty character like that, especially one that's like just so dark, like a murderer and, you know, an addict and, you know, just a loser, you know?
Especially the scene with her apartment was such a like that guy moment for me, the landlord, and I'm like, man, this guy, he's been in like so many. I had to look him up. I'm like, where? And Jack McGee's his name, and I know him from. I went on this kick years and years ago watching. I don't know if you guys remember Rescue Me with Dennis Leary, the
Leary,
HBO show, and he played the fire chief in that show. He was like another main guy in it. And I feel like he's just been in like 8 million other movies. But just
you're right though, he is that guy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, I love how he just like lets her be any like.
Yeah, sure. We'll let you in. We'll let you into the apartment.
I think maybe me seeing this movie and then kind of blanking it out for most of my life is why I was always so paranoid about landlords coming in my apartment or other people coming in my apartment. Also, because I watched a lot of horror movies. But
I will say, I had no written down when they're at the dance or whatever. Which never fully explained. They just kind of like, you know, she wears the dress. They go to this dance, but like, I don't know what this dance is for, what's really going on. I don't know if
It's the Easter dance.
Is it the Easter dance? Is that what they said? I can't remember.
It is, because when they were asking each other out, they're like, do you want to go to the Easter dance?
Oh, the Easter dance. But the song.
I was like, whoa.
I was like, the song playing is wild. Like,
oh my God, I know. Trust me. I was there with my fucking Shazam. Like, well, I need this. I need this. I was like literally on TuneFind. I'm like, why is there no fucking listing for this goddamn music?
Stop it.
Because it's so 1990, like some person banged it out in the fucking studio like 2 days before they had to have it like final cut.
Yeah, well, and like everybody at this dance apparently just like, choreographed dancers. Like everyone seemed to really have the moves going down. I was kind of really impressed with Mason's dance moves. I was like, this guy, like, for like, he's kind of supposed to be like a dumb jock character, like really has it down pat. Got some dance moves.
He's got the moves, man. He's got the moves. I think it's alluding to the fact that he has the moves on and off the dance floor.
Oh,
he's
scandalous.
got rhythm. He's got class. Actually, he doesn't. He's got ass. That's all I can say.
I see I had a note here that just said, I don't know what's lower budget, the budget of this film or that very romantic university meal that Eddie and Amy are having in his living room that is like undescript pasta and just a plain baguette on a plate. It's not cut, nothing. It's just a full hard baguette set on a plate.
Dude, I gotta talk about that because they made it seem like he was doing this most romantic like dinner. I was like, there is no man on earth that's out here doing this shit the way that he did it. It had all like set up, all romantic. And yeah, you just see like the plate of bread, the baguette. It's like, okay.
It's like, here's a rose and the ramen that you're gonna eat the ramen with butter.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of pepper sprinkled over it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not, disparaging. Just like the next guy, I like a good baguette. But like at least cut it. Like cut it, have some spreads or something for it. You gotta do something for it.
Something.
Gloria, of course. I have like 5 notes about Gloria. Ro was right. Ro calls me the fuck out. Ro's like, I know Gloria is your favorite character. And I'm like,
yeah.
Oh my God, her purple matching tights and dress and a little, not even like a handbag. It's like a little potion pouch from like, that's her purse from like Dungeons and Dragons, but it matches the purple tights and dress. And I was like, she is so fucking snatched. Like,
that's really funny because when I was watching it, and when I watch any movie, but especially when I watch a Mike pick, I'm looking for Mike's favorite character. And same thing, I was like, Mike's gonna love this chick.
It's whoever, it's whoever the worst character is. Like, who's the meanest?
Who's the biggest cunt?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's so funny though, because when Willow and Trevor were watching Jason X, they were texting me like, "Oh, we're about to watch it," and I was like, "Oh my God, it's so bad, but I love it. Like, it's so bad, it's good." And I was like, "I don't want to tell you who my favorite characters are, but you'll know." And she replied, and I thought this was such a good read of me. She goes, I know. I always, whenever I watch a movie that you like, I always know that your favorite character is going to be whichever woman is serving the most cunt. And I was like, that is so fucking true.
It really is.
Every time. It's so fucking like, I'm such a goddamn cliche. I'm so basic.
It's the Mike test.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I was just like, wow, a read. And then you guys are like literally saying the same thing. And I'm like, okay, I guess I have a type.
You have a type. Women, apparently.
It's more important than the Bechdel test. It's the Mike test.
It is. It's the Mike test. That's why I didn't, that's why like some movies I just don't care for, because I'm like, there's no woman serving cunt in this.
From now on, we're going to have a section on our show. It's just going to be who passes the Mike test.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. And listen, like Dee Walace also is like, it's like a hit because she carries the movie, and she also in that wig and the dress, like, and with the fucking leather jacket, like she is very cunty, and that big old massive knife. Yeah, she's doing it. She is doing it.
So are we comfortable to go into rating this?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you're new to the podcast, our rating system is nay, okay, yay, or slay. Jill, We'll start with
Oh my
you.
God.
What
Please
are you
don't
going to
do
rate
this to me.
1990s I'm Dangerous tonight?
Listen, I feel so bad for what I'm about to do. Like, I feel really bad about it, but I gotta be true to myself, and I'm going to give I'm Dangerous tonight a nay, because I just didn't like it. I wanted to like it, and like I said, if it were in an anthology and it was like tuned up and shortened a bit, I think I would really love it. I love the concept. Like I said, love a good she-devil movie, but I'm just gonna go watch In Fabric again. So yeah, it's an A for me. What about you, Rowan?
Yeah, I'm gonna also give it an A. I'm sorry, Mike.
Oh no!
I don't apologize to me. I hadn't seen it in a million years. I remembered it being bad. I was literally only just doing this for
Normally I end
troll.
up coming around and really liking a Mike pick.
Same.
This had a lot of stuff that I was like kind of excited for to see where it was going to go. And like I said, I really think the limitations probably put on Tobe Hooper, the bad script mixed with the bad editing, just it didn't make for a great viewing experience. Every time that I knew it was like supposed to cut to a commercial, came back, I was somewhere else in the story with no explanation.
It's distracting, yeah.
Put ahead in time or whatever without any explanation. Yeah, it was just like very distracting, and it would take me out of it. But like I said, there were little like tidbits of, you know, like the music, the costumes, just like the kind of unintentional camp of it all, which with Tobe Hooper, I'm kind of interested if the camp was intended, because I mean, he is a guy that understands camp, obviously, like Texas Chainsaw 2, like, so yeah, I'm gonna give it a nay, unfortunately. And you know, I don't know, maybe I don't know, Mike, if I get the, you know, the Kino Lorber Blu-ray and I pop it in, maybe I'll think differently or something. But yeah, it'll be an A for me. What about you, Mike?
I mean, listen, I was not coming in here going like sometimes I'll make a pick and I'm like, this is really good, even though a lot of people don't like it, or if I know like Colton's not going to like it, or Jill. I mean, actually, that's not true. Jill has really good taste. But, you know, sometimes like I bring something that I know and I'm familiar with and I've seen, or like I know from reputation, and this was just like, I remembered it being bad. Okay. I was not bringing it because I thought, you know, oh, this is good and I want everybody. I was just like, it's a Tobe Hooper movie. I want to bring somebody else on who's a Tobe Hooper fan, and like we'll talk about it and like talk about its high points and, you know, how bad it is. So, you know, that's it. Listen, I was fully prepared to give it an A. When I was watching it, I kept going like, oh yeah, this is definitely as bad as I remember it being. Even as a kid, I could tell that this was not a good movie. So I will say this. So I'm giving it an okay. I'm not giving it an A. And I have to just say several things. One, I don't know that I'm probably going to watch this again anytime soon. I do have the disc. The disc looked wonderful. And I will say this. I definitely probably liked the look of it a lot more than the first time. And I have to say there's flashes of Hooper there. And there's flashes of Cornell Woolrich. And one thing that I have to say, even though it was like, you know, a cheap-ass 1990 TV movie, the lighting and like the outside nighttime scenes was fucking lit, and it looks way better than most movies that come out now that have $8 billion budgets. So that's what I'm saying. I can see a better movie in there, but unfortunately, yes, it is garbage. And I also have to say that when I rewatched it, I knew that there was one shot that stayed with me my entire life, and it was when Wanda attacks Amy and, you know, has her knife out and is trying to like stab her, and it cuts to her beautiful red stilettos pushing across the hardwood floor. That image has literally, I forgot everything about this movie since I watched it when I was like however old, but that one image has always stayed in my mind. I think it's such a beautiful shot, and for that it gets an okay, because that was such a cunty shot before I knew what it was.
I also love that shot. Once you brought it up, like I saw it in my head immediately.
Yep. And it'll live in your mind rent-free. Like that shot lives in my brain rent-free. And I think of all of the flaws and weaknesses of this movie, of which there are a lot. The fact that there's one shot that literally lived in my brain, and I'm pretty sure that like when I used to write like, horror short stories all the time. I'm pretty sure I just wrote that into like one of my stories once about the red shoes scraping across the floor because I couldn't get it out of my head and I had to like exercise it. So yeah, listen, it's an okay. It's not like some good movie. I know that. It's a bad Tobe Hooper movie. But you know what? Whatever. Like, it's a curiosity. It's a curiosity for like the cast. It's like a weird Machen Amick movie, a weird Early Ermey movie, Dee Walace, a weird Tobe Hooper movie. So I think it's an interesting curiosity, and I'm very glad that they did re-release it and give it a little bit of love and attention. So yeah, it's an okay. You don't really need to watch it, but honestly, read some Cornell Woolrich short stories, including this one. That's what I'm going to put out there in the universe. He's a great writer.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what? I always say that, we can't always just do, like, the slays. We got to do...
Yeah, I don't want to do all slays.
You got to do a little bit of everything. So 2 nays and an okay, you know what? I think that's probably going to put it where it should be when it averages out.
Firmly in the bottom.
That's right. So we told you what we thought about the movie, and this is where you tell us what you thought, but I failed Mike. I think this is the second time in a row on Mike's pick that I forgot to post asking people what they thought of this.
Hate crime.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Next time. I'm busy. I'm getting ready to go to Toronto. It slipped my mind. So, yeah.
Once again.
Well, you could make it up to me by buying me a present in Toronto.
There you go. And you know what? If you're listening to this and you're passionate about it, write us still and let us know what you think about this film. And I will, next episode, make sure we include that in the spot. But someone that did not forget, I think we need to head over the horrific hotline because I know Nicholas left a voicemail about it.
I'm dangerous tonight. I hoped for something a bit like Twin Peaks with like the early 90s TV movie aesthetic and the main actress. And sadly, it's not that. Though I am surprised that it's the second time this year that you guys made me watch a movie about a cursed dress.
That was me.
But I think that it is even worse than Fabric. So Fabric had something for the first half, which this movie doesn't even have in the first half. I found it mostly bland. It's not terrible, but it's just mostly boring. Toned down for TV, and I think the worst part of the movie for me personally was that there were some famous horror faces in this movie and they didn't really get to shine. So why do you have Anthony Perkins in the movie just for him to exposition dump twice and then in the final scene show up for a sequel bait, maybe, or just an open ending? I don't know. I thought it was overall a very weak, okay movie, so it's watchable. It's 90 minutes or what. You can watch it, but I would not really recommend it to anyone. But it's not Shark Attack 2, so I can't give it an A. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe it's just not my movie, but Tobe Hooper and TV movies. Didn't he make the Salem's Lot movie? I think I enjoyed that a few years back a lot more than I'm Dangerous Tonight.
Well, that's okay. You know what, Nicholas? You obviously our rating wasn't shining on this either, so you're kind of not out of the norm on this one. Although the disrespect in Fabric, I don't know about that.
That was pretty shady.
He sounded like it was a negative thing that he had to watch 2 movies about cursed dresses.
Both of which were picked by me, and it was completely just by pure chance. Because this, like I said, this was a pick for a very specific purpose, which did not materialize. So it's just, I actually forgot until we kind of got into it, and I was like, oh yeah, I did do In Fabric too, didn't I? The fact that there's 2 movies in 20 years about possessed red dresses is just funny. And when I say 20, I mean like 35.
Do you think there needs to be more?
I mean, I honestly love a movie about a dress, especially psychos wearing a dress or like a dress that is cursed. I used to read a lot of like teen thrillers and horror books where it was like a cursed prom dress and like everybody that wears it like, oh, like she's a ballerina, but she puts on the dress and has an accident and falls down the stairs and gets paralyzed and shit like that. So I've always been a sucker for that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I need to be psychoanalyzed about it. There's definitely some kind of weird issue going on.
If anybody knows that's listening, let us know.
Yeah, I tried to psychoanalyze myself and I ended up hating myself and projecting.
Oh, God.
And also, I did see that in the email, Nicholas left a question for us when he sent the voicemail. He wanted to know, next to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, what is your favorite Tobe Hooper movie?
The Funhouse. I don't even have to think about it.
Just automatic there.
100. Okay, so I'm gonna be brutally honest right now, and we were kind of trying to backdoor this into an episode about the Funhouse without telling anybody, but that obviously didn't happen. So we almost had an episode of I'm Dangerous Tonight. There was actually an episode on the Funhouse, so I guess everybody's lucky. But that is 100% my other favorite Tobe Hooper. Sorry, go ahead. Jill, do you have one?
Nope, it's just Texas Chainsaw Massacre for me, so sorry.
Yeah, well, like I said, I have not watched a lot of his films, so I guess I have two answers. I mean, obviously, yeah, everyone loves Texas Chainsaw. I am a big fan of Texas Chainsaw, too. I think that's just as good. It's like my kind of schlocky, funny kind of thing.
You're right. That would be tied for second with me. I do absolutely love that.
I also really enjoy his segment that he directed in Body Bags, which was the I one with Mark Hamill as the baseball player. I really, really do like that. Body Bags is like one of my favorite anthology movies.
It's so underrated.
It's so good. And I do really like that. But other than that, obviously, Nicholas, I need to get on it. Like, I've never seen Life Force. I've never seen Poltergeist.
Oh, it's really good.
Salem's
Life
Lot.
Force is really underrated too, yeah.
I have Life Force in 4K, and I've never watched it.
What? Eaten Alive is also underrated.
The Funhouse, I own it, never seen it.
Yeah. Do you have the 4K?
No, I have it on Blu-ray.
Oh, I'm going to tell you right now, it looks amazing in 4K. You're definitely going to want it.
Yeah, I'll definitely upgrade it at some point. But yeah, if you want to be like Nicholas and leave a voicemail, you can do so by just emailing it to us, itslacespodcast@gmail.com, or messaging us on any of the socials, and we'll figure out a way to play it on the show. And if you're not following us on any social media, you can do so at It Slays Podcast. We're on X, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Slasher, Letterboxd, Bluesky, Threads. I don't even know what else I'm missing. If I'm missing anything, we're probably there too. So yeah, follow us at It Slays Podcast, and we're always talking about something on the socials, or, comment on a episode post and tell us what you thought of the film. And with that, Jill, do you want to tell people about our amazing Patreon?
Yeah, so if you want to join the ranks of our horror hounds, you can do so on Patreon, It's Lays Podcast, and join Holly, Nicholas, Patrick, Mark, Sacrotype, Joy, Dan, Brian, Trevor, and James, and choose the tier that works best for you. Rowan, why don't you tell these spooky people about our spooky playlists?
So yeah, if you want to get your spooky music on, we're getting close to spooky season, but that kind of music good for any time. You can go to the It Slays Podcast Horrific playlist on Spotify. If you have any problems finding it, you can go to any of the social media that I just mentioned. Go into the bio, click the Linktree link. It'll take you directly there. We upload scores or licensed music from iconic horror movies we review, or just horror movies we love. So give it a follow. We update it regularly, and get your spooky music on, because why the hell not? And with that, all that is left is to announce our upcoming episode. And Jill, who, written in my notebook, looks like her name is Grill, it is your pick. So why don't you let the people know what they're watching?
That's really funny, because my nickname in high school was Grillum, because I handwrote my name and a substitute teacher couldn't read it. Anyways,
wow, that's a bit of lore that I did not think I was going to guess.
You're welcome for that.
So now I'm going to change your name in my phone, by the way.
Please, Grillum. It's me. Anyways, so my next pick is going to be The Craft, and we're gonna be joined by some lovely ladies, hopefully, and have a little girlsy night, a little coven night. So yeah,
with some guys just hanging around.
With some guys hanging around. But yeah.
So get The Craft into your eyeballs and we will be back. As always, thank you for all the support. But for now, we will leave you. And I am your humble host, Rowan.
Bye. Sorry for making you go on a Russian porn site to watch this, Mike.
Bye. It's Jill.
See you later.